They won't.
Okay.
They're 2 feet.
The press and the Down Beach Current were notified of this meeting. A copy of same was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building. Would you please take a second, turn off all electronic equipment, and we will stand for the flag salute. Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
Liberty and justice for all.
Tom, would you call the...
Mr. Becker? Here. Mr. Blumberg? Here. Mr. Talby?
Yeah, here.
Up for discussion is renewal of our contract with Jersey Professional Management for Mr. Dini's services for 2014. The proposal is a maximum of 1,100 hours and an hourly rate of $105. Does either of the commissioners have any comment?
I think Rich has done an outstanding job for us, and I respect and appreciate his municipal management acumen.
Thank you. Maury, any comment?
It's good by me, and I think Rich knows how I feel.
It's also obviously very good with me. Rich, I want to thank you for all you've done for Margate in the past year and a half or so. And we will, can we get that on the agenda for tonight? Tom?
Yes, it's on. I
Thank you.
believe it's on. Yes.
Is it? It is. 240, Tom.
Yep.
Okay, all right, good. Thank you again, Rich. Department reports will start with Ed. He said he's going to be very brief today.
Ready? Okay, currently the road program's under construction. They're working on unit block south of Haverford, as well as the 3 beach blocks. They're going to continue in the near future. Then they'll break off because we want to get the concrete work started. And we're hoping to get enough settlement through the winter on the beach blocks in particular that we will not have to do the base pave and wait a year and top. We're hoping that over the winter we'll get enough settlement that we can, for the spring, have them finished and we're done. The generator for the police garage, the submittal has been approved, sent back to the contractor. In addition, the contracts were delivered to my office yesterday. They're here at the city for signature so we can get them back to the contractor, but they're proceeding as we speak. I expressed the urgency on that, so they are moving. The cleaning and televising of the sewer system, the annual contract, we're receiving those bids on the 17th, and if everything is in order, we would request that they be awarded at the 19th meeting. The Gladstone Avenue water tank painting, we had a pre-bid held here on the 27th, of which no one attended except myself and the gentleman from the school board. But those bids are being scheduled to be opened on the 14th. Again, if all the bids are in order, we would like to award them on the 19th also. Firehouse number 2, we're just waiting for the transfer switch so they can get that generator hooked up properly. And hopefully within a week or so, we will have the Sumner Avenue bulkhead and the beach bulkhead repair specs ready to go in the paper out to bid. We need to get them moving because that is a FEMA-funded project. And the Washington Street Municipal Building, which is for ease, is what I've titled that building now myself. I refer to it that way in all the reports I'm doing, and also at the Washington Avenue Municipal Building. I did the codes and standards report, came up with the estimate, submit that to FEMA. I'm going to submit a copy to Patty Dorr, who is assisting us with FEMA. I've given everyone a copy of essentially a Cliff Note report for them to look at, take a look at it, go through it. It's not real long, it's not real difficult. Any questions, just give me a call. I'll gladly go over them with you. And that is it.
Thank you, Ed. Tony?
Mayor, things are good in the fire department. One thing I did need to report was on Saturday, December 14th, the fire department will have their annual lunch with Santa for the kids in Margate at the Ross School. And I will make sure that we were going to have a flyer here for each commissioner. They should be on their way. Just as a reminder, if you can make it, and it's usually a great day for the kids, 12 o'clock at the Ross School. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Lisa?
Just want to let you know that I met with Patty Dewar that Ed had mentioned, who's assisting us with FEMA, and she's staying on top of things. As soon as she submits a request to them or additional information, if she doesn't hear back within a couple days, she inquires of them again. She also informed me that nobody in Atlantic County has received any funding from FEMA other than maybe that initial amount that was due. So we're really trying to push it along. She also informed me that they're being very stringent now with time extensions and that they want work completed within 2 years of the date of the storm. So I expressed this to Ed, so we really need to, keep things moving as far as like the renovations with City Hall. So she did, submit for a scope change there and inform that, the plans are being designed and we're waiting for certain approvals. We have not received any additional funding other than what I had last reported to you. I sent an initial budget draft to Leon Costello. I have not received the document back yet. I'm expecting it any day. As soon as I have that, I will forward it to everybody for their review. And that's all I have right now.
Thank you, Lisa. Rich?
Couple things, Mayor. I do want to report to the public that you have signed and we have sent in an extensive application for streetscape improvements. We're looking for a grant in the amount of $377,000. We would continue the streetscape improvements that have been in place, designed by Ed's firm. The following locations were submitted based upon the criteria of the grant, which included low and moderate income sections of Ventnor Avenue, Douglas Avenue to Essex Avenue North Side, Essex Avenue to Exeter Avenue North Side, Benson Avenue to Decatur North Side, and Adams Avenue to Jefferson Avenue North Side. The total amount of that project that we're seeking is $377,000. As you are aware, we've been more active in applying for grant funds. We don't know how successful we'll be, but we're in the process of applying for several street project funds, one on the corner of Washington and Ventnor as well, where we want to improve that intersection near that bus stop, and the bus stop itself, and the pedestrian activity at that location that may help us with that grant. We're looking into various opportunities in the public safety area for grants as well. In addition to that, Lisa and I and Tom was not able to go, but had been expected to go, met with the ACUA representatives, which we do on a yearly basis. And as it relates to trash and recycling, there is some good news. As the result of activity that they're doing throughout the county with various municipalities, they're trying to level the ton cost for the kind of the kind of bulk trash that we send there. And as a result of all that, the rate is going to be lowered for Margate. next year slightly from approximately $63 to $61 a ton. That'll help us in our overall costs and should keep our overall costs level. We also made the decision at that meeting, because they want to publish their calendar, to extend the time period where we will have double recycling pickups from, it started on the 4th of July this year, went to Labor Day, we'll get started on Memorial Day. That'll be 3 extra weeks of weekly pickups instead of every other week pickups in the summertime. That'll cost us about $9,900, but it'll be offset by the reduction in tonnage for the other trash, the regular trash pickup. So we're actually providing a little bit better service at approximately the same cost. So that's good news. In addition to that, because of the FEMA storm, obviously we sent, like everybody else, a lot more recycling or trash, actually, bulk trash, to the landfill. The ACUA has put in a FEMA grant and has been awarded money through FEMA because of the Sandy storm, and we are slated to get the second largest amount back for Atlantic County, Atlantic City being first. We're likely to get back about just over $40,000 next year in a check. So we're expecting that early in the first quarter of 2014. That's all I have tonight. Thanks.
Hey, Mayor, I have one other thing that you didn't think you'd get away that short, did you? I just wanted to report on the bulkhead ordinance, the height ordinance. What my recommendation will be, and I'm going to forward my recommendations of the ordinance to Scott for his review and drafting of the actual ordinance. Essentially, our current bulkhead ordinance has beachfront bulkheads at 13, bayfront bulkheads at 7.5 minimum, 9 maximum, both on 1929 datum. My recommendation is that we keep the elevation numbers the same. We just change it to the 88 datum, which will effectively raise them 1.3 feet all across the board. It's a reasonable increase. I don't think it'll cause any hardships, but it will help us. And it also, those numbers also are in accordance with the actual zones. For example, all our bayfront are A10s, I'm sorry, A9s. So the elevation 9 is right in line with the FEMA map, and our V zone on the beach, we vary it from 11 to 13, but keeping it at 13, I think, is a conservative number without being overly aggressive. So, and the other thing I'm going to is that we raise the fee from $500 to $2,000, with the balance being refunded, the balance of the escrow being refunded when we get the as-built drawing with the elevations, which is something that isn't quite working right now at the $500 level. So I'm hoping that increase will be an impetus for people to get it done and get their money back.
Ed, I'm going to ask you a question I know the answer to, but I'm asking so the public will know. The new bulkheads that we just built at Kenyon and Lancaster Avenue, they're at a height of?
They're at the current 13, because that's the current ordinance. Okay. So we're looking at approximately 1.2 feet higher
Higher than that. Okay,
with new
so anybody
bulkheads.
wants to know what that is, you can get an idea by looking at those bulkheads. Thank you.
Okay.
Rich, you have anything else? Excuse me, Scott?
Couple things, Mayor. First off, I do concur with the city engineer on the bulkhead elevations. I think that's the most reasonable amount. We've been debating this for a long time, and based on our experience, we do think bulkhead elevations should be raised. But you have to pay attention. I mean, a lot of people think if you raise all the bulkheads, it won't flood. No, we're still going to have flooding, but the bulkheads do break wave action, and they do allow property owners to hold soil or hold their ground in place, which gives them a higher elevation of their ground. So yeah, I think that's the correct way to go. I support it 100%. On the agenda tonight, you're going to see Resolution 239, which is to authorize entering into an interlocal services agreement with Atlantic County, the City of Ventnor, and the ACUA regarding the Ventnor Gardens Stormwater Station. At this point, I think Commissioner Taube deserves a lot of recognition, as does Mayor Becker and Commissioner Blumberg, because at one time, I know years ago you were also involved, and Commissioner Taube more recently has been involved. The mayor and I have attended several meetings. We actually have an interlocal agreement pretty much worked out now for the pump station. It's actually located in Ventnor, right around Newark in the Bay, what they call Ventnor Gardens. And that pump station project is going to be $1.5 million, approximately. At this time, it would be a joint effort with the City of Ventnor, City of Margate. Atlantic County will pay a third, and it will benefit the County Road, Ventnor Avenue. And the MUA, the County Utilities Authority, will do the engineering and permitting for us. This resolution, if we could get it adopted tonight, would be beneficial. Jim Rotella, as you know, is a grant operator. He's working on several grants and applications for funding for this city, and he is also working on obtaining funding, which I've detailed in that resolution. Hopefully we'll get all the funding, but in the alternative, if you don't get the funding, the resolution provides that we would appropriate money. Now, I know Commissioner Taube had sent me information that there is an existing bond authorization out there for slightly more than $200,000. It might entail us having to go back and amend that ordinance or else a new one for additional funding if the grant application were to fail or we didn't get the money. But this is a very big first step. I need you, if you approve of this resolution, we will give this to Jim Rotella. He's meeting next week with the DEP Infrastructure Trust Committee, and he said it would be very beneficial to have this resolution. I think Ventnor's going to adopt theirs next week, and we've been working closely with Ventnor and the county. Many thanks to the County Utilities Authority engineers and County Council, who really put a lot of effort in this to make it happen. So it's been a real good team effort by all parties concerned. And if you have any questions, of course, I know you'll ask me what they are. One third thing, Jimmy Galantino has mentioned it to me again, that we are moving forward now, Jim, with a demolition of a house on the bay, and that would be, what's the address, Jimmy?
438 North Bendham.
438 North Bendham. And I know, Mayor, I know that you've been on top of this as well. It's a house that's in very poor condition. It was severely damaged in the storm. The property's not being repaired. And so this is another one of those where we're going to have to go forward and spend some money and put a lien on the property and have this. It's a bayfront home. It's actually overpiling, most of it, on the water. And Jimmy is going to meet with me, or has sent me. We'll give him one more notice. It's actually the lender, who I assume is in the process of foreclosure. And we'll be moving forward with that demolition then. You want to add anything to that, Jimmy? Do I have it all right?
No, it's just an unsafe structure, and it was lifted off its mooring.
Pardon me?
All right.
It was an unsafe structure, and was lifted off its mooring when the water came up above its first floor.
He had raised it and shifted it, apparently. So that's it. That's all I have for now.
Thank you, Scott. Tom?
The only item I have is the number 235, the auction for the ice cream vending. I think you all saw yesterday that Rich sent out an email with some suggested changes, and he and I discussed it today, and then based on some feedback from prospective bidders, we came up with the following, and just want to see if you are okay with. The increase, the minimum bid is going to increase from $40,000 to $50,000. The requirement that each bidder post the minimum bid is changed to each bidder posting $20,000 prior to be eligible to bid, instead of having to post the minimum bid. And then the auction will be held in early January, and final payment will be required to be made by April 1st by the winning bidder. So those were the three basic, nothing major changes, but just an increase in the minimum bid and the amount to be posted. So I
I'm
think,
fine. Mark?
Good by me.
Brenda?
And are we doing one bidder?
no, as many,
One bid.
oh, I'm sorry, one what? There's no, oh yeah,
One-
one successful bidder, yes.
Anything else?
No, that's all I have.
You okay with that, Brenda?
Yes.
Okay. Ryder?
I totally agree with Ed Wahlberg's recommendation about the bulkheads. I think it's a wise interim step. I also think that in 2014, we should have some planning studies with regard to the impact of this on waterside decks, porches, patios, and things of that nature. Not a major study, but there should be some studying done, but I think it's a very good interim step. We're very busy in the Planning and Zoning Office. I didn't have time to make a map, but we've approved 22 new houses on demolished sites in the last 30 days. We have a lot of cases coming before the Planning Board. They're very busy. And I want to congratulate Mr. Deeney, and he's a wonderful addition to our team, and it's good to have you staying here. That's it.
Thank you, Roger. Jim?
I concur with Roger on Ed Wahlberg's determination on the bulkhead heights. We've been going around with this for about a year and a half, trying to get those bulkheads up. But you're right, Roger, we do have to look at it with the way they affect decks on the bayfront. And good luck, Rich, with your re-up.
Chief?
Everything's good.
You win the prize for shortest.
I try.
Rosie?
Good.
She beat me.
Too good. She wins. Marty, anything?
Yeah, I do. I have a couple of things. First, I want to recognize Frank, although he's not here, and his team, specifically Yogi, for the holiday lighting out at the rec complex. I think that it's the best display ever, and I want to say that I don't believe any other town can match what we have out there, and it's just a joy every time I ride by. So thanks to Frank and the team for the hard work there. The second thing I have is related to, I was away for Thanksgiving. I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. When I got back, I read an article in the press on Sunday. I don't know what day it was in, maybe in Friday's paper, related to the dunes. And so having read the article, I'm wondering, has there been any subsequent conversations between Mike, you, or Brenda, with the people from the Corps or the state as it relates to the process that we're anticipating going through?
I can answer that. As you know, Commissioner Martin called me, I believe, a week ago Monday and something. We had a conversation. Somehow wound up in the newspaper. He was kind of upset by that. So his aide called me yesterday, and we're trying to arrange another meeting, but nothing else has really happened. And, I will, if anything happens, I'll keep you up to date.
Okay, so he's with the state, and so the state, the governor's office?
He's the commissioner of the DEP.
And so they want to come down here and meet with us?
No, he wants me to come to Trenton.
Oh, he wants you to go to Trenton, okay.
I'm trying to work on that.
Okay, and so one of the things that I wanted to suggest is that, I think we should go out and notify, our point of contact, at least that I was aware of, was this Keith Watson. And so why don't we notify Keith and/or reach out to Keith and say, hey, we want to be proactive here. Why don't you come down and meet with us, meet with the commission? We're ready to meet with you now. The people have spoken, and we are ready to meet with you. Would that make sense, to try and send an email?
I just want to interject something here.
Can I just
Okay.
respond 1 second?
Sure.
I'm sorry. When the resolution was passed, it was my thought that all these people would be notified, otherwise...
Right, well, again, I think
They
the
were all
resolution went to them.
That is
So
correct.
we just sent them the resolution.
That is
But
correct.
maybe what we need to do is reach out to them formally, either via an email or a
Can I
letter,
make
and
a
I'm
suggestion?
happy to do it. Yeah.
Can we wait at least maybe for a few days and see what happens when Commissioner Martin gets back to me? Okay?
It's a different agency, though, isn't it? Aren't we dealing with, Scott, aren't we dealing with different agencies here?
The
Well,
Corps of
no, the
Engineers.
lead, if I may, Mayor, the lead agency is the DEP, Keith Watson's the Army Corps of Engineers. But the lead agency is the DEP.
Yeah, and they're going to have an agreement together, and then that agreement's going to be, would be, if it goes through with us.
Wait a minute.
The state and the federal government.
They're going to have what agreement together? They're going to present us with a Dune agreement? I'm not interested in that. The people of Margate aren't interested in that. So when you say, do you have information that I don't have? They're going to have, what conversations and/or communications, Brenda, have you had with them? Can you just update Mike and I?
I've had 0 conversations with them since the referendum, but I do remember working with them to organize a meeting on October 17th, a public meeting here that was before the referendum, so that we could inform and educate the people and help them make a decision. And you and the mayor both did not want to host that meeting.
I understand that, and that's irrelevant as it relates to where we are now. We have over 50, right?
Couldn't be any more clear where we are. If you want to send something to Keith Watson, send it.
Well, yeah, I think it's a good idea. I just didn't want to do it without letting you and Brenda know. I don't want you to feel like I'm going behind your back, but I think it's a good idea.
The commissioner called me a week and a half ago. He called me, I guess, yesterday. I've asked that you wait a few days to see what his response is.
I'm good with that. I will.
Okay, all right. That's good. Do you have anything else?
No, that's it. That's all I have.
Brenda?
Just a couple things. I'm real excited, as all of us are up here, about this pump station, and thanks to the county, the ACWA, Ventnor, and Scott and Maury and Mike, too. This is a group effort, and we should all be proud of ourselves that this is finally going to come into fruition. I have a question about one of the ordinances. Is it a good time to ask about it now, for later? And that is the salary ordinance. I was wondering if it should be amended. I wanted to propose a separate ordinance or part of this ordinance that states that merit increases be brought forth publicly and voted on by the commission, needing a majority of the vote to pass. And I only say this because I think that that this cuts into our 2% cap, and if any one of us were to do that, then it gives us less, I think, for services for the residents. So I'm just going to put that out there and, see what you think on that. And I had a question for Ed about the Washington Street Municipal Building. It looks like $1,076,000, and then 80% would be reimbursed by FEMA, correct?
What we're attempting to do is justify 80% of that cost as a codes, that those items are required by codes and standards, in particular ADA accessibility code, FEMA, the FEMA floodproofing, and the state of New Jersey actually it's a requirement for courtrooms that was generated by the state of New Jersey municipal, or the Superior Court actually. So many of the items have 1 or 2 codes that apply to them, and that's what FEMA had asked us to supply to them, those items.
And then the remaining 20%, hopefully some of that would be picked up by our insurance?
Now, it all depends on the work that's being done. I mean, there's certain provisions to restore it to the way it was, but we may get additional fundings for, mitigation type efforts, repairs and renovations. But, if there's other substantial improvements, then the city, might be on the hook for that. So as far as like our insurance proceeds from former City Hall, we've gotten everything from them that we're going to receive.
Thank you.
So those proceeds could be used towards what we're going to do here.
Right, and to date, we haven't received anything from FEMA pertaining to City Hall, because first, we're waiting for a cost estimate. That has to be submitted, and that's contingent upon the approval of these codes and standards. And then once that's prepared, we could send the estimate to them and then get those funds obligated.
Also, one of the items in that report, we were funded for we scheduled to be funded for the Old Historical Society building for the repairs and all. We can change that to use it for either demolition of the building or take that and ask to reallocate it towards the Washington Street Municipal Building renovations. So it's not listed there as a code or standard on the list, but it's either been funded or will be funded in some mechanism, so.
That's good, thank you.
Cool. Hey, you done? I, too, would like to thank everybody that was involved in the pump station. It's been a long time coming. That pump station hasn't worked for 40 years. I personally have been, pushing for that since 2007. And we had a meeting the day after Thanksgiving, which was attended by all the agencies. And if you'd like to know some of the details of that, I'd be happy to do that if it's up to, the public. We're obviously not getting, I'll go for it. We're obviously not getting any FEMA money. They're fairly confident that we can get a grant and a loan combination. It would be an 18% grant, a 57% zero interest loan, and a 25% market rate loan. The grant writer is fairly confident that that will happen. Has to be designed and in by March of next year. We will get the money at the end of the project, but they will give us the equivalent of a construction loan to get this project going. It was unanimous in the design of the pump station. Everybody is in agreement that they think it's going to work. The engineers for ACUA, Ventnor, and I think Ed, you also would agree that this is, a good design. The ACUA will design, engineer, oversee construction, and maintain the project after it's online. And as Scott said, the county, Ventnor, Margate will each contribute a third of the cost. The timetable. The grants due application in March of 2014. The experts seem to think that by the end of 2014, the project should begin. We should be online by spring of 2015. This is big. It's flood mitigation. It should alleviate some of the flooding on that end of the town, in addition to benefits for the county and also for Ventnor. So I'm very happy about that. One other thing, we've had 2 resignations from the Beach Patrol, and I want to wish both those people, it's Rich Kugel and Mike Sincata, well, and thank them for their service. And with that, we'll open to public comment, 3 minutes on anything that was discussed today.
Bill Potts, 26 North Pontiac Avenue. I'd like to thank everybody involved in the pumping station. I know I've been inquiring about it for several years. I have a feeling for the number of people who worked to get this accomplished, not only within our town, but the other 2 entities, the other 3 entities which you're working with. I certainly appreciate the efforts, looking forward to seeing it happen, and encourage the commissioners to pass the referendum when it comes forward tonight. And thanks a lot, and I would encourage somebody to put together, maybe with the Down Beach, a nice piece of information to be published in Ventnor and Margate to emphasize what it's going to do for the city. Because I've spoken to a number of people about the pumping station, a number of people have asked about it, but I think a terrible volume of people don't know what's been going on and don't know that there is relief in sight for a lot of that flooding. I think it'd be advantageous if the city, in conjunction with Ventnor, were able to get something into the Down Beach paper or some associated public distribution. Thanks a lot, folks.
Thank you, Bill.
it's not going to alleviate the flooding, but it's certainly going to help. And I think that's great, not only for the reasons that you're saying, that it's going to help all 4 entities, but it's going to lessen our environmental footprint too, which is wonderful. But it's also it's working together and sharing services, which I think is that's a nice spin to get out there, is that all 4 of us are working together.
That's one of the things when I heard that the grant money would not be coming for it. Initially, I know we did submit for a grant, and I really thought it's what the governor wanted. He talked about unifying and interacting between communities. I thought we had a great chance between the players involved, Ventnor, Margate, and the other players, but obviously it didn't get that far. But yeah, it's a partnership deal. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Sewell, 22 West Drive, following up on the remarks of Commissioner Blumberg. It is absolutely essential that this commission not sit on its hands. It requires this commission to be extremely proactive in order to get everything that is due to Margate that will enhance the safety of the town. As I stated last time, the master jetty will add between 2,400 and 3,000 feet of new beach. There is no better safeguard against a storm for wave action than to have beach, which the waves have to chew through to reach the bulkhead. And if we could achieve a master jetty at the end of Longport, it would make an enormous difference. But we're not going to get that consideration unless this commission decides to have meetings both on the state and the federal level. I strongly urge this commission to touch base with Senator Whalen, Assemblyman Chris Brown, Mr. Mazzeo, perhaps, and to have a meeting with the governor with this Republican-Democrat input. And then when you're finished doing that up in Trenton, perhaps go down on the Amtrak to D.C. and speak with Frank Lobiondo and have a meeting down there requesting federal aid be redirected. And this is only going to be if this commission wants to be proactive. If you don't want to be ahead of the curve on this, perhaps we're going to find ourselves on the wrong end of the stick when it comes to federal dollars. I say that right now, right here and now, there should be Plan B, Plan C that we're offering both the state and the federal governments. And if you're not going to lobby for it, hey, Mayor, hey, Madam Taube, we're almost T-minus 12 on the next election, and it's not going to be a pretty one if we get stiffed on those federal dollars. So wake up, be alert, and be proactive. You can't sit on your hands on this. Let's put together proper alternatives whereby federal dollars can be used to protect Margate's property and Margate's citizens. Thank you very much.
Dan Gottlieb, 407 North Nassau. I just want to follow up on 232 and some of the things that Commissioner Blumberg brought up surrounding that ordinance. Just to clarify, what is your official response to the status of the request to the DEP to remove the city from the schedule based on Resolution 232? I just want to get a clarification of that. Can I get a clarification on that?
What is it that you want?
What is the status currently? What's the result of the request by the city?
The city, as
to the
we
DEP?
stated before, the city has sent the resolution to all those agencies. Is that correct, Tom?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. Was there any letter, cover letter, or email sent along with that resolution, or did we just send them a resolution?
Tom, you can answer that.
It was when resolutions certified or sent out, they are sent out basically as a form saying this was a copy of a certified letter, a resolution adopted at a meeting of the governing body. There's not a question or answer letter or anything like that, no.
So nothing about any studies to review alternatives? We want to sit down with you, explore some other options?
When I spoke to the commissioner, I extended him the opportunity to sit with us. And as I said, he will get back to us.
I have no experience in city government, and probably after all this has taken place, I don't ever want any, but I would just think that there would be a logical, orderly way to send a resolution to a state agency with a cover letter that would be available for all of us to read and see, that says, hey, here's a resolution, here's some background on that resolution, and here's what we're hoping to accomplish as a result of that resolution.
Dan, I can assure you, I don't know when it went out written-wise, and the resolution obviously has been sent to all the agencies. The commissioner of the DEP knows exactly what's going on here. He is very understanding. He's a very bright man. We talked about sitting down and talking with alternatives, and he said he would get back to me. I can't tell you any more than that. We can't be any more proactive. I think that's a lot better than sending a cover letter. That is my own opinion.
Okay. Brenda, you said something about waiting for an agreement. I'd just like to get clarification on what you meant by that. You said you were waiting for an agreement.
No, we're not waiting for an agreement.
Okay. Has there been any conversation?
Dan, it's comment. It really is. And I understand I'm sympathetic, but
okay.
This is public comment, not questions.
Not allowed to ask any questions until 5 o'clock?
No, this public comment is public comment. It's not question and answers. We've really extended this.
How are we supposed, as the public, to ask questions about Ordinance 232? What's the procedure?
Resolution
232, yes.
You had your opportunity at the last meeting. Just as people will have an opportunity to speak about these resolutions before they're passed at tonight's meeting, during the public comment section.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. Does that mean at 5 o'clock, when it's open to public comment, I'm able to ask some questions?
2 weeks ago at 5 o'clock, at part of the second part of public comment, there are two public comments at the 5 o'clock meeting, general topics and ordinances and resolutions.
Okay.
During that period, you can ask questions about ordinances and resolutions.
Okay.
That took place last week.
So if I wasn't here last week, I'm just trying to understand, I'm not trying to argue. If I wasn't here at that last meeting, I can't ask any questions about Resolution 232, even when it's open to public comment at 5 o'clock?
Scott,
Yeah, of course. Yes, you can at public comment time. This is a workshop.
Okay.
In
That's all I
15
wanted to know.
minutes, we have the regular meeting, public comment. You can bring up anything you want. You can talk about the Eagles' chances of winning the Super Bowl. You can talk about sand dunes, whatever.
Okay.
But right now, it's just workshop.
That's at the first public comment. The second public comment is resolutions and ordinances that are being considered for today's meeting.
It's been explained clearly. Thank you. See you in 15 minutes or so.
Thank you. Anyone else?
14 minutes.
Sharon Simon, 424 North Thurlow Avenue. I thought it was public comment, not whether it's question or comment. And you're supposed to be able to ask your commission city what they're doing, and you're supposed to know enough to be able to tell you. Work session is for those items that are on the agenda. Regular public session is for those any topics. But the theory of our mayor is you don't answer any questions. So if you don't ask your question when he gives you a second opportunity to do it, you can never ask another question. The reality is there's a resolution that was passed. And my understanding of the resolution is that three things were going to happen. there was going to be an official request to the DEP, 3 things. 1, to take us off the schedule. 2, to do a study for the Bay Area. And 3, to talk about alternatives. You don't have to be much more than a 5th grader to know that when you pass a rule like this, someone writes a letter, an official letter, and says, attaches a resolution per resolution, these are what the city commission is asking of the state. It's a public document. Then you don't get something in the newspaper and have Commissioner Martin being upset that's in the newspaper. You don't have whisper down the lane with the mayor having phone conversations which are not open to the public. This is not a deal between the mayor and Commissioner Martin. And I don't know why we're going to Trenton. As Commissioner Tobey said, what's the harm? We're just requesting a meeting. We need to have an official request, and then we need to have an official request back from Commissioner Martin, whether that be, we'll try to set up a meeting, whether that be, I'm sorry, you have to do this no matter what, whatever. The city of Margate voted. I mean, you know, Mr. Abbott, you're a solicitor. There are laws, there's integrity. You guys are acting like this is some little issue. All right, we'll see what happens. I don't think you handle other issues that way. I don't think you've ever probably sent out a resolution, it's not question and answer, it's my comment time, resolution out and expect a very busy public entity to read the resolution and interpret it. It's ridiculous, it's unprofessional. And the other thing is to have, is there any communication at all, official, that we're even on a schedule? Are we going to figure this out from the press? We look at the press and see that Commissioner Martin had a conversation in the email with Mayor Becker, and then we're going to read, there's a schedule. Even people who want to be on the project, there's official documentation. They go to a commission. They say, we'd like to do this project. Want to join it? Yes, this is what has to happen. This is all being done under the wire. This is really unethical. And I don't know why you're not insisting that this be put in writing and open to the public. On another matter, I'd like to know what are the plans for the municipal building, talk about whether we're going to use money to demolish the Historical Society or do it. Are there any plans? Have we made plans so that we can effectively determine how we want to use those monies? So I don't know if we can answer that question here.
We will probably address that at a workshop next meeting. That's my plan at this point. We had to wait for Ed to produce this report. He just produced it tonight. We just got it at 4 o'clock tonight. But that was the prerequisite for how we go next.
Okay.
But we did announce about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago that we had a set of plans that went with this report, which were preliminary schematic plans. Ed has a copy of those. Our whole staff has seen those. And we explained that at a workshop, but that's where we are at this point. We have a schematic, we have a plan, we've communicated that internally to people, we've made it part of the public record, and I hope we will end up having that on our workshop agenda on the 19th.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I'd like to ask if the commission is planning on doing something. Oh, Commissioner Blumberg, if you want, you can write that letter, and oh, you can make a phone call. Could we do this on a professional, ethical, documented, open, what do they call government? Transparent, please. It's important. Whether you agree with the project or not, it's an important way to run our city. Not like this, shoddy, unprofessional.
Mayor, I can't resist. Can I comment, please?
Please do.
Okay, you know, I try to make heads or tails of what you're talking about. Does it get any better than having the head of the DEP in a state of over 8 million people call the mayor of Margate directly to speak to him after he receives the resolution and to ask the mayor to come to Trenton for a meeting to further discuss the issue? I don't think it gets any better than that.
Well, then I think
so
there
for
should
you
be-
to get up and say that someone is unethical or not professional is, I simply don't agree with you at all.
But you don't have
You're
to,
way
in
off
my,
base on that.
well, you can think I'm,
Sharon,
excuse me, you can think I'm way off base, but what I'm saying is, then there should be an email that that conversation took place and make it official and open, because if you happen to be here, you find out about the phone conversation,
There is an email and a newspaper article.
how would you know where the email? Is it for the public? Do the public know that as a result of this resolution, it's being sent out? We're being asked
Well,
by
how
the
did
people.
you find out?
Asked?
You read the newspaper.
I did not read the newspaper.
Right.
Okay, but that's not how you should have to find out. And anyway, you're not handling this in a professional manner.
Okay.
Well, you and I often disagree.
Anyone else?
Steve Altman, 9003 Amherst Avenue, Margate. I usually take my constitutional for about an hour on the beach nearly every day. Today I was on the beach at around 11 o'clock. I just want to pass back some information to the appropriate people of a chance meeting that I had with 3 FEMA surveyors, not surveying with surveying equipment, but they were photographing the beach and checking it against their maps. And I just wanted to give you 3 points that they made to me conversationally. One was that they were enormously concerned about the runoff from the streets and what that was going to do to a proposed sand dune system. They happened to see, I guess it was around, I'm going to say Pembroke or Osborne Avenue, a large trough of ocean water that had backed up against the bulkhead. And the man asked me, does that happen in the summertime? And I said, well, if there's a storm, yeah, the beach erosion is dealt with. He also pointed out to me that the beach is very large. If you haven't been down there, we have a really wide beach right now. And he pointed out to me that a lot of the sand that's on the beach is from the project that's going on in Ventnor right now, that it's building up in Margate. So the points that they made to me were, 1, a lot of sand on the beaches from Ventnor. 2, they're very concerned about the water getting back out to the ocean, and 3, that there only seemed to be 1 outfall pipe in Margate that they were aware of that goes out into the ocean. I thought somewhere I had seen 3 to 5, something like that.
And 5.
5, but they had indicated to me they had only located 1. So those were just 3 points I wanted to pass back to you from a conversation.
Thank you, Steve. One of the topics that was on the table to be discussed if the dune project moved forward was drainage at the end of the streets. Is that correct, Ed? We pretty much have that under study.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Paul Van Der Ryn, 311 Dorchester, Egg Harbor Township. Comments about the proposed Resolution 235. I thank the commissioners for considering the extensions. I spoke a few weeks ago about that, and I appreciate you including that. One concern I have is minimum bid. I think the minimum bid was $40,000. It's been raised to $50,000. Is there a way that we can split the difference? I personally think, A, you will possibly eliminate potential bidders. That's number 1. Number 2, with the minimum bid infers a higher winning bid, the pricing on the last page should probably be looked at, because these prices haven't been looked at over maybe 8-9 years. And so I've hoped to be able to maintain the prices, okay? In previous years I have, but as the bid increases, the retails have to go up. Again, I don't know what your thoughts about that are.
Okay. Thank you, Paul. We'll take that under consideration.
Okay.
Mike, I think if we're on for, Rich, if we're on for tonight to vote on that, I think we need to discuss it now.
I agree.
And I personally, unless Rich and/or Tom has, or you guys have a tremendous issue, I wouldn't be disagreeable to split the difference as it relates to the minimum bid. But, my only fear is not getting any bids at all and then having to re-advertise and/or rewrite. So if you guys are okay with it, I don't have a problem with splitting that difference.
I'm okay with it too, and I think lowering, wouldn't that open the doors to possible more bids by lowering that minimum?
Tom and I spent a lot of time on this. I'll let Tom speak if he disagrees, but I think we're in a total agreement that 50,000 is a very fair number. The bid last year was over $60,000. For us to make a minimum bid of $40,000 or $45,000 means if one bidder comes in here, they can bid $45,000 and get it. We lose $15,000. If one bidder comes in now, we only lose $10,000. Why do we want to lose $15,000? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. We've only had minimum number of bidders anyhow, and it doesn't restrict the number of bidders. It has nothing to do with the number of bidders. If you're going to bid at 40,000 and you have multiple bidders, the bid's going to go up over 45,000, or 45 is going to go over 50 anyhow, because it was 60 last year. Even if it's 52 this year, it's going to be more than 50.
I just had a question. I missed your logic on the 15,000. Were you saying because it was 60 last year, and then if we dropped it to 45, is that what you're saying?
That's what he said.
Yeah, okay. I got to be honest with you, I keep waffling back and forth because I hear, like what Brenda said, that if we go too high, are we going to, scare away maybe a bidder that, we all know it's going to go up, but what if we just have 50 and we only have the one bidder? By the way, you have the right to, you reserve the right to reject all bids. If you did something tonight and you changed it, and come January 8th, whenever it is, if it turned, again, I think you can go two different ways with this. If you make it too high, you drive them away. Too low, you don't get high enough. But you do have the right to reject all bids. So again, I keep going back and forth. I understand Mr. Van Ryn's point, and I understand Rich's point. There's different ways
Well,
to
I
look at it.
mean, our point, I'm fine with having this open discussion, Tom, but we agreed at 4:30 it was going to be fit. I just want to make sure.
And it's only because I weighed in, and I apologize. And in that regard, I will defer to Tom and to Rich. They are absolutely the experts. If that's what you agreed to, I think let's stick with it.
I'm in agreement. Brenda, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'll make it public that if we get one bidder at $50,000, I'll recommend to the clerk that he recommend to you that we reject that bid, and we lower it to $40,000 and rebid it again. That's a solution to what we're just talking about.
Okay.
Because there's a chance that could happen. You could still get one bidder, but we could get one bidder at $40,000 too. It'd be the same
In
thing.
this regard, that's why it's important that we get out soon, though, in case we have to reject, because then there's advertising requirements that take weeks and resolutions, so we have to keep moving on. All right.
Okay. Would you also look at the pricing, as Paul said? So when you come back...
Oh, absolutely. I'm not an ice cream expert, so...
I'm not. But if you and Rich can
Rich,
come up with an agreement here...
Maybe we'll check with some other communities, Rich. I believe Ocean City has a bid.
And make a recommendation, so we'll try and keep everybody...
If the commission has strong feelings, this is not something that the business administrator has to be an expert on either, but that's what we agreed to at 4 o'clock, and I don't see any reason to change it.
I'm good with that, then. Okay.
Tom, if you need ice cream experts, talk to my kids.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, anything else? Okay, is there a motion to close... sorry, Steve, I'm cutting you off.
Not so fast.
Sorry.
Steve Warner, 103 North Sumner Avenue. I just want to make a comment that, regardless of what happens with the dunes, whether there are dunes or they're not dunes, whether there's replenishment or there's not replenishment, I love the beach no matter what it is. And the ocean's always going to be there no matter what. And there's always going to be a beach, so let's keep that in mind. And I'd just like to make a comment that, I mean, I know it's great that we had this referendum, what have you, non-binding, but this is Margate, and the power of the state trumps the power of Margate. The power of the federal government trumps the state, okay? I think we're going to keep this in mind going forward. I mean, we're going to go up there and talk to them like we're equals, we're not equals, okay? And you're going to, very possibly, we're going to find that out real soon. This is not an equal thing, all right? We're going to be told what's going to happen, and if we don't like it, I think it's going to basically be, well, that's too bad, okay? But we'll see, and maybe I'm wrong on that. But the power of the state is great compared to the power of Margate, all right? And the power of the federal government is greater than the state. And that's the one thing I wanted to bring up. So let's keep that in mind. And the ocean's still going to be there. And I want to be friends with everybody. I don't want to fight with anybody. Not too much.
Anyone else? Okay, so motion to close public comment?
I'll make a motion that we close public comment.
Second?
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Mr. Talby?
Yes.
Okay, before we adjourn the meeting, this is not my meeting with the commissioner of DEP. The commissioner called me. First thing I told him was that the people of Margate voted, and I represent the people of Margate. So we understand that. To say that this is haphazard and all that is really misleading. I think Scott was very elegant the way he said it. We have the commissioner of one of the strongest departments in the state representing the governor, calling here. I just happen to be the mayor. He knows where I stand. And I just think you're wrong, again. Is there a motion?
And Mike, I just want to comment on that, because we weren't, certainly I wasn't, I don't think Commissioner Talby was on the other end of the phone when you had that conversation with the commissioner. And in that regard, what we know is what we read, or what we think we know and or believe is what we read that was reported in the press. And I think what I heard, which resounds with me, is that they are apparently, in listening to you, the commissioner is receptive in meeting with us to talk about alternatives. That's the key. Not that they want to meet with us to talk about building dunes. And I think what I heard you say is that they want to discuss alternatives.
That it is limited to the commissioner willing to meet with Margate. I didn't say that he was going to discuss alternatives, nor did he. Okay?
Okay, so that's different than what you said a little bit earlier.
No, it isn't. I never said it.
Okay, so he called, your discussion was that he's willing to meet with you to talk about what?
Anything that we want to talk about.
Whether or not the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So then maybe what we ought to request is that he come down here and meet with the full commission. Why don't we ask for that?
Why don't you write him a letter and ask him that?
I will do that.
Okay.
I'm going to ask Scott for his help, but I will do it. All right, I'm taking that on.
You just said very few minutes ago that everybody was willing to wait for a few days. Okay.
No. Let's understand.
I can assure you, Maury, it will do Margate no good to push this commissioner.
I'm not interested in, I'm not interested in pushing anybody. I'm interested in making sure that, and I think you are too, that the state and the Corps understand where we are on this issue.
I can assure you that the commissioner knows exactly where Margate is.
All right. Again, I don't need to write any letters. I have plenty to do. Again, I will defer to you and to Scott, understanding that our best, the city's best interest is at hand here, not, again, understanding that everything I've read and everything that I've heard from the state and the Corps, their job is, the job that they have is to build dunes here in Margate. If we don't build dunes, they don't have a job. The Corps does not have a job if they cannot build dunes. There's a lot of people that have a lot to gain by coming here and building dunes.
Scott, did you have something?
Well, just understand this. We have to go to the mountain. The mountain doesn't come to us. The Army Corps has many projects to do. This is not their only project in the country. It is remarkable that the head DEP guy called and invited the mayor to come, and I thought it was a very generous motion or request. Where we're going from here, listen guys, as Mr. Warner said, they get a lot of power, and we're going to try, the city's going to try to work this out and not get involved in some kind of costly battle that we probably can't win. So let's play this out, but I think the mayor has spoken directly with you. You know basically what was told to the mayor, and as he related to me.
And so,
There's
just
no
so I'm
secret
clear,
thing here.
Just so I'm clear, because again, what I read in the paper, I don't know
well,
whether I want to believe it or
you
not.
can't always believe what you read in the paper.
Just so I'm clear.
But today, this one was good.
This Mr. Martin.
Commissioner Martin, yes.
Commissioner Martin, did he or did he not indicate that he was interested in seeing dunes built in Margate? The Corps' project continuing in Margate. Did he say that when he was on the phone with Mike?
I was not on the phone.
He was not there. I can assure you that he is very interested in the dune project on behalf of the governor.
Okay. And so for me, and I think for 1,500 others, at a minimum, that's a problem. If he's going to try and affect his desires and wills and pressure us in that regard. That's why I wanted to be proactive. But again, you guys, it sounds like you guys might know a little bit more than I do.
No, I don't think that'd be fair to say. You know as much as we know.
Okay.
But remember, the federal government, legislature, and the state government have passed the laws necessary for this program. We're asking, in effect, this vote is saying to them, change your program. And the chances of that happening are not real strong. So we'll do the best we can do, guys, and of course, there's always the remedy to the courts. So I hear some property
I think the
owners.
mayor's trying to keep us in the loop. He shared the email with both of us, so.
Right. So the mayor, I believe the mayor's been as open as he possibly can be on this.
I'm not suggesting that is not the case.
Okay. And you know, of course, that the state wants this project here. You know that. Very much so. The governor's not been bashful about saying that.
And I personally am not unwilling to go to the mat. In deference to Mr. Warner, I am not afraid to go to the mat for the people of Margate. And I think that as a commission, the resolution that we passed indicated to the people of Margate that we are willing to go to the mat, that we are not going to be bullied.
And to your credit, that resolution was sent to the governor's office, and he responded and called the mayor. That's pretty good.
I'll make a motion, we close.
I will second that motion.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Taube?
Yes.
We will take a...